All right, we are live. Here we are in Vegas. This is the hotbed of the week for automotive. It is the industry week. We have manufacturers, distribution points, anyone who's in the space of automotive parts, accessories, performance, AAPEX and SEMA. We are in day two from the show. The engagement has been incredible. Again, every single year, I've been coming here for many years. I'm just always taken back by the level of enthusiasm for our industry, for transportation, vehicles on the road is ultimately why we're here, that consumer. And very thrilled to have Haley Franks on with Wheeler Fleet Solution. Wheeler Fleet Solutions. Love to come on, just talk a little bit about kind of yourself. I know you mentioned a couple years in the industry. Is that right?
Yeah, not even 2 yet. So a year and 4 months. This is my second AAPEX. So my first AAPEX, I was only about 4 months into the industry. So you can imagine, fresh out of college, 4 months in the industry, seeing this show, you're like,
totally.
Oh my goodness, what is going on? This is huge. So now I'm kind of in a space where I not only understand it, but I'm running some meetings. We're going through our days. We went through AAPEX on the Sunday, Monday side of things. Got some booth meetings going on yesterday, today, and we're going to see the SEMA side tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, we're headed over there.
So you said just out of college. So did you graduate about 2 years ago?
Yeah, so I
graduated from
Northwood University.
Okay,
it's
cool.
It's in Midland, Michigan.
Yeah.
I actually didn't study automotive when I went there. I was a marketing major, management minor.
Okay.
So I actually had zero intention of coming to the automotive aftermarket.
Yeah.
But Northwood's connections to the aftermarket just drove me here. So I graduated in May of 2023, and then I started with Wheeler in June of 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you kind of So I kind of got in it, didn't really know much about the aftermarket about a decade ago.
Yeah.
And once you get in it, it becomes just a great community of an industry. And you didn't even think about it.
No.
I had no idea.
And then all of a sudden, it's crazy too. Like Ariel's like, look where you are. Ariel's my boss, by the way.
Okay.
So Ariel's kind of like, look where you are now. Like I'll be walking down and people are like, hey, Haley. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the biggest.
You know my name. You know my name.
It's really like the biggest, smallest industry. And
Totally.
It's like a family, even the communities within AutoCare. So I'm a part of ACPN, Women in AutoCare, Yang. I'm on the subcommittee for Yang, attending the Women in AutoCare forum in Georgia in February. So it's just crazy how much you can really grow and thrive in this industry, being young and just really being open to what's going on in the industry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've always intrigued. I secretly believe, always like a teacher at heart. When I first got it, I wanted to teach, but then the education gets small.
What do you want to teach?
Well, I played baseball in college, but I
played softball.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, high five. It's instant connection,
right? That's awesome.
Yeah. No. What position did you play?
I was a shortstop. Yep, at Northwood. You were a shortstop.
I was a shortstop.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Are we brothers and sisters?
Right? Like, oh my gosh, mom? No, I can't. No, I'm totally kidding.
Seriously,
awesome.
Man. What happened? Just one night? Okay.
That's awesome. Did you play in college?
I did. I played at University of Incarnate Word, UIW.
Wow. Where's that?
San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
I kind of call it Division I. Not quite a Notre Dame, but a
D1.
Smaller.
Congrats. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Cool. I got drafted in Baltimore out of junior college, but I didn't go. It was really late. I ended up going. I was really late, and then I ended up coming out of college. That's a whole nother.
The whole thing, the whole story.
Yeah. I don't want to bore you now.
That's super cool.
No, shortstop is it's a great position.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's a leader.
It's a
leader.
I loved it because I like going all in, right? And you have to have a great arm.
Yep.
You have to have great lateral movement.
Yep.
You have to have soft hands. You got to be fast. You got to be smart.
You got to be liked by your team members.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yep.
And it's just that really makes me happy to hear that because I think when we look in the industry, we need more collegiate shortstop.
I agree. Let's start funneling them in,
Seriously,
right?
Man, yeah.
We can make a community.
Yeah, I know, shortstop community. And
shortstop in the aftermarket.
Yeah, we're not going to let no weak arm second baseman.
Or the pitchers who are babies.
No, we're not. Yeah, we're not going to let them in. No, that is so great.
Yeah.
but no, it was a similar experience. I think when you start, you don't understand how awesome the industry is, and I mean, we deal with automotive parts. We deal with things that typically you would not be attractive to the consumer.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've kind of talked a lot about, and especially the younger generation of people,
Yeah.
the younger folks of our industry is once you engage it engages you back.
Yep.
And it becomes a really awesome kind
What
of
you
place.
give is what you get.
Yeah.
So how much you're putting in, the work that you're putting in, the way that you're building a brand for yourself, your company, that's all going to come back to you.
Yeah.
So, and I see that too huge. Like Ariel's been my mentor since day one, because he started out in the industry. I know he did a podcast with you not too long ago.
Yeah. We had
already heard his background a little
really
bit.
smart guy, man.
Absolutely. So
I was because you never really know how. So when we created the 2W podcast, a lot of it was about bringing the industry forward with a voice, and in a way that is like in better visionaries and leaders and young talent and the older kind of seasoned talent and bringing it together. But brilliant. Like he's a very smart thinker.
Absolutely.
I was quite impressed with that.
Yeah.
Wheeler Fleet Solutions.
Yeah.
We're here at AAPEX. It's a hotbed for automotive.
Oh, yeah.
For folks who are not sure of Wheeler Fleet Solutions, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're a warehouse distributor. Our corporate is in Somerset, Pennsylvania. I work remotely out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
So I don't have to be in the cold, rigid
I'm
weather.
in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay, not too far.
Gotta go play some golf.
Right? Gotta go play some softball. You can join a team. No, but yeah. So we're out of Somerset, Pennsylvania. We got our start back in the 1960s, and I'm on the e-commerce team. And e-commerce really took off in 2019. But we have 3 go-to-market strategies. So e-commerce, which is kind of leading Wheeler right now. We're up year over year, which is awesome considering the time period that we're in and all the changes that we're seeing in the industry. So that's really awesome. I'm on the e-commerce team, and I love the initiatives that we're starting to drive forward. We also have the USPS side of our business, which is where we kind of got our start and got our feet up and running back in the 1960s. And then now driving forward also our fleet and our municipality business that we do as well. So Wheeler kind of is not a traditional WD, but I think that's why it works.
Yeah.
You know?
When you think of e-commerce, I think there's a lot of discussion, talk a lot about it. I actually, our paths are eerily similar. So I got my start in the automotive at the parts house.
Okay, yeah.
Warehouse distributor, and I also ran their e-commerce division.
That's awesome.
And that was from the startup, and I've seen over the years it evolve and take different flights, manufacture. How are you thinking about commerce? I mean, I'd love your perspective, right? You're a younger gal out of college. You've grown up with great technology at your fingertips, the better part of your life, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, how you buy product, you've probably grown up with an iPhone your whole life, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You never had to deal with the old flip phone or you never had to deal with any of that.
Yeah.
The Nokia.
Yep.
You never had to deal with that.
It's just foreign to me.
I know. It's just speaking French.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But when you kind of look at the industry from your perspective on commerce and digital are interconnected.
Yep.
How do you see that? What's your take on that piece of it? Is it
Yeah.
behind? Is it forward? Do you think we have areas to improve? Or just in general?
Yeah, I think it's not slowing down anytime soon.
No.
So we really seen the takeoff, I would say, about COVID time. So I was still in college then, and just the way of the world in general, everything's online. Nobody wants to go and try their clothes on anymore. They want to buy it from Amazon, and if it doesn't fit, drop it off at Staples and get their money back instantly. You know what I mean? So nobody's really doing the extra things and getting out like they used to, because everything's digital. Everything's right literally in your fingertips.
Yeah.
And I think as an industry, as long as we keep moving forward to put that our things, our auto parts, whatever that may be, even if it's accessories, when we expand into the performance side, go to the SEMA side, putting things in people's hands is what they want.
Yeah.
The quickest you can do that, the fastest, any way that you can get parts in people's hands, they'll do it. And then when you think about somebody like Amazon, absolute powerhouse, you know what I mean? And as we continue to break that market, and whether it's coming from somebody like a WD or a manufacturer going to Amazon direct, Walmart's going to start taking off soon. People like car parts, you guys, whoever it may be, getting our product in the easiest, most efficient way to the consumer is the way of our industry. Yeah. And I think keeping to drive that forward.
And one thing I'm intrigued in is our technicians.
Oh yeah.
It's something that I particularly enjoy talking about, just because I think sometimes they're overlooked as a whole, and they're very important into the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
How they're buying products. Yeah. So if you look at let's just take I'm 39, so we're, a ways away from meaning, age.
Yep.
From kind of how we grew up in the technology, right? I in high school, I didn't have a phone. I got a flip phone, in college, and then it wasn't until years later I got so I've lived through a little bit of the non-tech tech, new technicians that are coming in. I mean, how do you think they're thinking about the buying of products? There's got to be a different model there as we see technicians evolve, how they purchase, because they grew up in a different time frame.
Yeah.
A similar approach to, we need to enable the tech to where they want it as quickly as possible with the most streamlined process. They don't necessarily want to talk on the phone.
Yeah. I think something that we see a lot, even in our business model, they're very brand loyal, if that makes sense. So they'll wait an extra 2 weeks if it means they can have A brand instead of B brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's something that's not going to go away. And in our industry in general, as the industry starts to age in some respect, they have this almost like it's what they know and it's how they do it. And I think that's kind of what we're doing at Wheeler, is driving that change in general, whether it be at the tech level, whether it be at our corporate level, driving change and trying to see like, how can we make the aftermarket overall more effective for the technicians, for the WDs, for the manufacturers? Is that all on e-commerce? No, it's also in the people that you're hiring,
100%.
The young talent that you're bringing into the industry, giving back to the industry. Like Ariel didn't have to mentor me in. I knew nothing. I was brought from the ground up. He could have hired someone who studied aftermarket. You know what I mean? So I think in general, even going back to the original question of technicians, I think it's just about showing them, because time down is money lost in general in the shops, for fleets, for my car. I have things that I need to do. So adapting this new age way of getting products fast, getting products in my hands, I think that's something that the aftermarket is just going to continue to capitalize on, because we have to.
Well, I think young talent, and I kind of want your perspective. I think bringing in young talent is, I always look at it as great opportunity, because you have a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Our perspectives probably differ to some degree purely because of our experience.
Yeah.
Meaning the time we grew up. A guy that's
some
60
sort of bias.
100%, right? If you talk to the 40-year industry guy, he probably thinks about it a little differently than you, because he's had 40 years of different experiences that maybe shape that. So I think young talent is critical, and I've always enjoyed the perspective. Young people that are looking at career paths, we need to continue to attract high quality, smart talent. What would be your take on the young generation looking at automotive?
Yeah, so I think kind of what we talked about a little earlier is this may not be the most appealing industry in the world. And I think other industries are a lot more appealing, but they don't understand that, like, once you're in it, it's absolutely amazing. I didn't even understand that. I'm like, automotive, I don't know if I want to do that. And now I'm like, I don't think I could ever see myself leaving this industry. And I'm 23. You know what I mean? So I still got a ways to go, right? So I do think that what the University of the Aftermarket is doing, Northwood's kind of expansion, going for your AAP, MAAP, all of those things, and getting more involved. Like, Wheeler sponsoring 2 Northwood students out here this week who are actually studying aftermarket still in college.
Good.
So kind of providing, even if we grow outside of Northwood, getting with colleges and building those relationships to say, like, let's get students out here. Let's let them see if they like this, if they can see themselves doing this, getting them involved with stuff like Women in AutoCare, and see it's not just all about selling parts.
Yeah.
I don't look at you all day and want you to buy my product and keep it moving. No, this is a community.
This
is a relation. Like, half of the meetings that we have are just about relationship building. People, I heard a really good quote once about the industry, and it's that people don't buy from a business, people buy from people.
100%.
And I think that's huge. The relationship that you are building, how you treat people, how you do business, stands for everything. So I think that when the younger generation starts to see that, it's going to take off. And I think that this industry is absolutely amazing for young individuals in the aftermarket.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think we're at a time where it's an interesting time right now to be in the industry. I hope, it is our duty. I really believe it's our duty to push the industry forward through the next 20 years, 30 years. So when we look back and we retire and we hand it off to the next people, we've really made great progress. We have to leave no stone unturned and leave the empty tank, the tank empty, right? We need to empty it out. One thing I'm kind of curious, you kind of put it on there, overcoming imposter syndrome.
Oh my God.
What do you mean by that?
So I just feel like, so when I came out of college, I was 21, and like I said, I knew nothing about the aftermarket. And Arrow took me in. I was learning. I was attending these University of the Aftermarket classes, literally doing anything I could to just learn a little bit more. Because this industry is like, as soon as I uncover one thing, I open one door, there's 10 more doors, and I'm like, oh God, that's 10 more things I got to learn. But just driving forward is the main thing. But the imposter syndrome kind of came, I think, at the start of this year. I'd really say is I attended an APA show in San Antonio, and was kind of walking through the halls, and I'm starting to see myself get stopped. Like over my boss, they're like, "Oh, Haley, I can get this from you." Da, da, da. I'm being pulled all these ways, and I'm kind of like, I really was like, wow, that was like an epiphany for me, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I became so important. You know what I mean? And it's a super awesome feeling. But I think that imposter syndrome is almost like I guess I don't know the word. Like sometimes I don't feel like I belong in. Like I'm 24, or I just turned 23 actually. I'm 23, and I'm like I have the industry at my fingertips. I can do anything I want. I can navigate any way that I want. I can be promoted. I received my first promotion after just like a year and a half with Wheeler. So I'm growing, but it's just like the imposter syndrome comes from like opening that one door and seeing 10 more, and instead of getting scared of them, being like, oh my God, now it's time to conquer those 10 doors. And I think that brings a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, okay, I don't know all of that, so should I be in this position? But it's like I can learn all of that.
So I think that's a really good point, and I'm glad you put it there, because most people probably wouldn't note that. It's development. It's literally the definition of development, right? I look back on my career, and I can tell you a lot of mistakes and stupid things, whatever. I'm sure. But what you see is every year it just compounds. And so when we look at the industry, you intertwine your experience. Okay, maybe you feel like, I don't know if I should be here. Fuck that.
Like, do I deserve this?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be for me.
Well, what if it's not? Why not?
That's true.
Why not? Like let somebody kick you out. Kick me out. You know what I mean?
And I'll get back up every time.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't think I should be, kick me out. I'm fine with that. No, but that's the definition of development. And I think when you start to see the industry, I mean, we did a podcast for SEMA, the Engineer of the Year Award.
That's awesome,
Mike Black. That's going to be out on Thursday.
Okay.
And we were just talking a lot about kind of the young talent and how it kind of can come in and engage the industry. We need talent, right? And so I think when young folks come in, you think, oh man, I don't know if maybe don't know this. Nobody knows everything. But we keep kind of fighting the good fight, and over a period of time, we develop into what we have as the next generation of leaders, and that is the definition of development. So I'll say, Haley, before I know we're about up on time, but before we sign off, women and AutoCare. I want to give a little bit about that. I grew up with 6 sisters. Now I have 2 daughters.
That's awesome. Crazy.
My whole team now is all ladies. I don't know why. It's like, maybe they're smart. Maybe they're smart. They're smart. Right? Or I don't know. Anyways, so women in AutoCare is definitely something in the industry that I always love to support it. We need more women in the AutoCare.
Absolutely.
We need more talented women, smart women, strong women, folks who that really kind of believe that they can do some damage to help move us forward. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So Women in AutoCare was one of the first communities that I actually got involved in, because when you walk into a room, and I was starting to see this a lot in those high-level meetings, when you walk into a room, you're the only girl. You know what I mean? And that can be intimidating, because one, you're the only girl, but you're also 21. And so actually this morning we had the Women in AutoCare breakfast, and Lauren from Trauma actually said something, and she was like, as a woman, she was like, as a woman, you don't like take a seat at the table, you make a seat at the table. Like you make your seat at the table. 100%. And I think that Women in AutoCare really helps drive that 100%. In our industry all the way. It not only provides women with an opportunity of how to feel comfortable pulling that seat up at the table and not being like, oh, I don't belong. It shows you and provides like this sense of security that I do belong there. And if you don't think I do, then I'll prove to you why I do. And I think that Women in AutoCare really cultivates that feeling in women. And outside of that, creates that presence for brands to be like, wow, I need her in my industry. She goes on something like this. Wow, she's awesome. I need her. Or connecting with people. You look at some of the ladies like in the industry have created an amazing name for themselves. And they started by pulling up a seat at the 100%. Table. You know what I mean? And if that means working a little bit harder than the guy next to me, I'm going to do it every single time. And Women in AutoCare cultivates that, brings women up in the industry, helps them feel supported, and brings other companies into like support and funnel that talent into them.
Well, I think don't ever think that there's not a seed. I think that you know I grew up with a bunch of sisters. They're from a doctor down to all type of career paths.
Yeah.
And you make it.
Yeah.
You show up and you make it.
Yeah.
And you believe in yourself. And I've kind of always said, I think professional, and this is not just women, but this is, I think, young professionals in general, is there's 2 rules I think that you should apply: is eliminate fear from your arsenal.
Yep.
And believe in yourself like you've never believed in yourself before.
Yeah.
Like those 2 things. Like fuck all the rules,
Yep.
all the bullshit,
Yep.
all the like those 2 rules. If you take a professional career and you build a team based on those 2 rules, the inevitability outcome is uber successful, strong, great willpower, smart. And so that's a big reason I love to support the women in auto care. I think we need really strong women in our industry. They bring a whole nother intellect. We need to support it. And so I thank you for supporting that as well.
Yeah, our company, Wheeler, actually just became a diamond level sponsor for women in auto care. And so we're really driving that forward. Ariel sees how much I'm trying to be involved, how much we're funneling that down to our company and across the board to get everybody in our company involved. And I think one of the biggest things that has helped me thrive and feel confident is just having a mentor.
That's awesome.
Having a mentor and having, I could say confidential information in a meeting, but to know that I have backing from my boss every single time, that'll help drive me forward every time.
That's awesome.
Because now it makes me feel like there's nothing I can't do.
That's awesome. Haley Franks, Wheeler Fleet Solutions. I think we're developing the next generation of automotive talent, literally right here. So always come back to the 2W podcast and talk about how awesome everything's been.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it. As always, Wheeler Fleet Solutions. They are here in Vegas at AAPEX, top tier distributor. If you do have any needs or commerce needs, Haley, are you active on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
active on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll start there. Reach out, Haley Franks. If you can't find her, just bump me, and I'll put you in touch with her. It's awesome, guys. We're having a great week. We look forward to doing more. And this is the voice of the industry, the 2W podcast.